Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Journey with Love podcast. I have a special guest here, Rose, who is joining me this evening, and we are going to discuss building healthy relationships, foundations, self discovery, personal growth. If you've been following me on the Journey with Love podcast, you know this platform is here to promote healthy relationships, love, and healing. Like we want to show up as whole individuals if we're going to be out here in the dating game. And I'm huge. I'm like almost addicted on personal development. So I thought that Miss Rose here would be the perfect guest to bring on today so we can discuss why personal development is important, not only on a personal level, but also why or how it affects us in relationships. And again, also to discuss effective communication strategies to help aid us in relationships. So thank you so much, Rose, for joining us this evening. And if
I
you
thank you
could go
very
ahead
much for
and tell the
having me.
people, absolutely, and go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself today.
My name is Rose Topol. I am a licensed clinical mental health counselor here in the state of Florida. My practice is Topol Counseling, and it's located in the very whimsical Cocoa Village, right here in the Space Coast of Florida. Um, I absolutely love what I do. I work with people, and well, I work with them through them based on their own history and knowing that the answer is inside of every one of us when we come in through the door. It's a holistic practice, and we seek connection above everything. So I'm glad to be here with you and to talk to the people and to kind of introduce myself out. Thank you.
Absolutely. And how can the people connect with you? Like if someone were seeking your services, how could they connect with you? Where can they find you?
Well, I am on Psychology Today, so they can look under my name, and through
Yes.
there, they can book an appointment through Rose Topol. I am both a life coach and a therapist, actually working to gain my Ayurvedic wholeness license so that
Nice.
I can become a full, uh, well, within the spirit of wellness. That is my goal, both as a practitioner right now, just a user of yoga, but moving forward to being a teacher of it,
Nice.
kind of stepping into wellness. I've been on my own personal journey. I used to engage in a larger body. I'm working my way down to whatever that ultimate size looks like, but
Okay.
inhabiting a different space, a different mindset, different, well, the smile is smiling now, huh? I've done a lot of work, and I want to share my journey and the processes that got me here versus the darker places that I've been in.
Excellent. Okay. Well, when you say that you've done a lot of work, what does that entail? Like, can you give us some more detail? I'm assuming you mean personal development when you say you've done a lot of work.
Yeah, so I consider myself an Uber nerd. I won't claim that I'm an exceptional mind, but I'm a knowledge vampire. I soak it all in. I love research. I love documentation. I love interviewing people. I like just acknowledging people's stories. So I then become the hub of that information. And as a source of information, I find that I can fill wells and I can help people find their way to themselves based on what it is that they desire for themselves. We can start there. That it's not anybody else's. So everything is individualized, not just in how I adapt to therapy, but I think it's based on the modalities that I've been picking up and acknowledging over time about human being as multiplicity, that we desire sometimes more than one things, and this causes conflict in how we integrate with ourselves and with other people. Um, I study one brand of therapy called reality therapy choice theory that says that all psychological illness is based on our connections, our relationships. That all long-term psychological illness is based on the relationships that we engage with. Um, it's a fascinating field that teaches us about self accountability and the empowered self. So I'm always excited to talk about it. It's helped me make certain decisions that has changed the course of my life. And well, I'm here as kind of proof point. I got here. So I always
Absolutely.
say that I started out dirt floor poor, and I am here where I am today via hard work, via a lot of connections of community and support, and then my own showing up for myself through the difficulties. Because that you ask how this work is done, we do not allow ourselves to lie to ourselves about what we are doing, when we are doing it, and how we are doing it. We align ourselves with values that help get us to where we are going to get. And we try to remain consistent with those things. And along the way, sometimes we need some guidance and some help. And one of the reasons that I move forward into this profession is that um, when you are all by yourself, it is hard to imagine that you have what it takes to keep on going, especially when one feels unlovable or one feels unloved, when one feels disconnected, when hopelessness is your bedfellow. It is very, very hard to get up and do the damn thing. So, part of it is acknowledging, like my company tagline says, you are not alone. Even inside of yourself is a divine energy that helps keep you going when the going gets rough. And sometimes when everybody else forsakes you, you are not allowed to forsake your damn self. Be here, tune in, and accept that divine energy that is inside of you and let it radiate out.
Yes.
Let it come on out and let it be there to support you as you get to where you're going. Reach out and connect, because that's the purpose of community. What do they call it in Africa? Ubuntu. Uh, I mean, I can't be happy if you're not happy, because we are all one, right?
Absolutely.
Part of that, that's the connection. So, like I said, I will ramble, my darling, because ooh, I never stop having conversation.
That's all right. I'll try to chime in then here and there on you. Keep it on flow. So how do you tap into that divinity, that something inside of you that lets you know you're not alone? So others can maybe get an understanding on how, because a lot of us do feel alone, you know. So how do
Well,
you tap into
I'm
that?
not. You have this. You have self, and we are multiplicity in that we are the bodies we embody today, here and now. But if we stop, most of our unhappiness is caused when we're time traveling backwards and forwards to the past and way projecting ourselves into the future. But if we come right back into the here and now, what am I doing to achieve the thing that I want? Come back into the here and now, and I can align myself with what it is that I need to do to get, you know, the difference between where I am and where I want to be. That therein lies the conflict. What do I have to do to bring that to me? That's stuff we can problem solve. But not if I'm sitting at home eating a bunch of ice cream and covered up and feeling sad and eating away my sadness rather than getting up and going to take a walk, which I need to do. I must
Mhm.
do. I owe it to this vehicle that carries me. I need to do the thing. I need to get up and I need to walk. And when I don't feel like walking, I need to pick up that damn phone and call my friend and say, Chick, I'm freaking tired of it. Come walk with me. And if she don't want to do it, call somebody else, because that's part of it too. We ain't allowed to give up
Mhm.
on ourselves. But sometimes we need a little help. We need a little
Absolutely.
community. And
Absolutely. I was
there's nothing wrong with feeling sad.
at
There's
all.
nothing wrong with getting sad. That's just one of the feelings that we embody. But you know what? All the rest of them exist inside of you too. Every single one, whichever one you want to tap into, that's the one that you should choose. The one that gets you going more often than not. I'm not saying that we are always able to. I'm saying more often than not, when we seek to find the get up and go juice, we will. More often than
Absolutely.
not, we will. And, you know, um, Dr. Glasser of reality therapy has he put it down to everybody being a car, and he say you can only drive your own car. I love that methodology because if you think about it, right, one of the things that we do to disconnect from each other quite often is try to control the other. Think about this: I can only drive my car and you must drive yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best boundary metaphor that I can think of. He talks about the two front wheels of the car being your thoughts and your actions. And he said the two back wheels are your feelings and your body sensation, or the responses, the autonomic responses, like you reach for the stove and you pull back. That's the automatic responses. He said the two back wheels you're not directly in control of, but the two front wheels, you get to control your thoughts as a thinking human being, and you get to choose what actions you commit to. So the first thought comes autonomically.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, I'm human, and so therefore, dot, dot, dot. I get it. I walk by somebody, I have my fear response. Okay. But then the second response, oh, that looks like a lovely young man. I don't have to pull my purse back, right? Sorry if I did something that was hurtful to you. I can own my ish. That was a normal response. I wasn't trying to do nothing, you know? So if I have my fear, I have my fear. But the thinking part of my brain should recognize situationally that if I did that, I should at least own it and let that young man understand that I'm sorry about that, and that
You
was
know, I'm noticing that there are different levels to what you're speaking of when it comes to being aware in that sense. And
it's
so, and
situational,
it's
but
situational, right? And
also here,
also
here,
within the heart, on the inside.
yeah, because here's the thing, right? One of the all right, back to Glasser. He said the world only gives you information. And you go, what does that mean? The world only gives you information. So I liken this to a story of you're standing and someone drops a big truncheon, like one of those big stands when you go to the theater. It drops
Hmm.
one of those on your toe, right? And you are just about to get real pissed off and mad because that mother, right? And then you look and you see, oh, it was just a little baby that dropped it on your toe. All of a sudden now, and the baby, you start crying and the baby starts crying. So now instead of worrying about your damn toe, you're picking up a baby and going, I'm sorry, honey. Just information. But let's say
Right.
it was that ex mofo of yours, the one that's been doing all the doing, and he dropped it on your toe, and then he's standing there like a big giant idiot, and you're like, now you're ready to fight.
Right.
Still the same information, still the same level of pain, but now different person. Now you're ready. Let's say it was your boss. Let's say now it's not the baby, and no, it's not the ex. Now it's that man that give you a paycheck,
Hmm.
right? And he looks at you and go, well, pick it up. Um, Depending on how high your mortgage is, you might just pick that mortgage up. You know what I'm saying? And just carry on with your bad self. Now, if you
Right.
have some money in the bank or limited ability to navigate your emotional awareness, you might haul off and punch that man, lose that job, and lose the house. In one moment, everything gone just because somebody gave you some information. Walking by the street and somebody sees you and say, hey, Inna, and I know he ain't talking to me, so I'm going to keep walking. You know what I'm saying? If you
Hmm.
want me to answer, you need to call me Rose or Miss Topol or Mrs. Topol, because
Right.
I went there once, and that's how I got this name in the first place. So
Okay.
those are the names I answer to, but ain't nobody gonna call me out my daggone name and have me answer to it. If you want me to answer to a name like that, it better come with Queen,
In front of it. Yes,
because that
ma'am.
that yes, it's a no. Um, you don't get to choose my value. I do. And so I will not
Absolutely.
acknowledge you calling me outside of my name. Now, if you happen to be calling me outside my name, coming standing in front of my face, part of my responsibility in this life is to learn how to defend myself. It is to
Hmm.
learn how to live. It's to learn how to survive. Dr. Glasser even talks about that. He talks about the five basic needs that human beings have and how we react inside of those needs in relationship to other people.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about the needs of love and belonging. You know, if had I thought I was going to talk about Glasser a little bit, I'd have pulled his book up, but I will. It's a relatively easy book to get to. The Little Book of Choice Theory. They even so much of have it free online that you can just jump into the little book.
What's the name of it? Choice
Which I
theory?
think, yeah, the Little Book of Choice Theory.
Okay.
Believe me, it's like jumping down a hole. It's a rabbit hole of interesting, I never even thought about that kind of way of life. It's an interesting little thing. I consider it, because I'm a big sci-fi nerd, and so I consider it the beginning of the Vulcan mind. It is using reason, not feelings, to navigate you through. And so to me,
Use
it's
reason, not
fascinating
feelings.
because
Yes.
relatively new. You know, we step in our feelings all the time. I feel
Yes.
this and I feel that and I feel the next thing. But my feelings are not facts. I didn't recognize that. I used to think my feelings were my reality. But here's the thing about reality: no two people see reality the same, or
Mm.
we rarely do. We see things through the various schemas that we occupy: our life history, our trauma, our connections, our disconnections. We see things through a lens, right? And through these lens, we assign value to things and to people. And in that, we tend to do things that disconnect us from people. We use habits like yelling and nagging, criticizing. We occupy judgments about everything. Um, it's just, there are ways to get through to people that does not involve using manipulation and control. And when we start asking ourselves, well, what is the reason for X and Y, we find that the things we used to do require us questioning whether they are still valid things, whether or not these belief systems are still life affirming sometimes, even.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I initially meet my client, I tell them to walk out of my office questioning every daggone thing in their reality, including what kind of ice cream they like. Because if you just like the ice cream because somebody told you that that's the ice cream you like, do you really like that ice cream? Or are you just eating it because? Because you know what, being black like me, it's always interesting how people just go to, oh, you so white, based on how I talk, um, based on the fact that I love acquiring knowledge. And sometimes I sound like a yardie from Jamaica. Sometimes I sound like I'm from Britain. It depends on what kind of information I'm soaking in. So,
Okay.
um, people will call me names, but why do we all have to be the same? What is this fixation on sameness? Sameness is boring and bland. The fact that I am a neurodivergent therapist, I think, is, and neurodivergent meaning not neurotypical, meaning A, of the ADHD and of the traits that, well, I think I've learned to adapt a lot. And while I continue to say that I didn't build the body that I inhabit because of my distractibility and my time blindness and all of that nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
um, learning to navigate it has been a work in progress, a constant
Yeah.
work in progress. Um,
It definitely takes work. Let me ask you,
mhm.
for how does a person go about figuring out which personal development skills that they need to build? Like, what made you decide I need to work on this area, and how does a person tap into what they need to work on?
I think it depends on what it is that you desire for yourself. Um, I've been a talker my entire life since I was 3. Backyard, Jamaica. In Jamaica, my mom used to say, "Gal, you chat like you in yam chicken, batty." That's the little tiny end of that chicken.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
always been a talker. I thought I was going to be a lawyer or I was going to be Oprah Winfrey. I love Oprah Winfrey. I wanted to be Oprah. I wanted to, but way back when, I just had the gift of elocution, right? So communication wasn't one of my issues, but listening was. I
Okay.
had to learn how to listen. When I started going down, it was based on my own deficit systems, what I thought I didn't have for the life that I desired. I wanted a different life. I grew up, like I said, dirt floor poor. We didn't have a home or stability, blah, 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 blah. My mom was a type 1 diabetic and sickly. I always tell the story of my mom because it is the foundation of me, where she was 8 years old when she started working. So, and one of 17, which I think I've only met three of my mom's 17 brothers and sisters, and
Wow.
which is sad. Um, like my story, when I actually finish and settle down enough to write it, I consider it the sacrifice. My story is one that I hope no one will walk through, but at the same time, it made me me. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to claim that we need to go. We don't need to suffer this bad to be this strong. But adversity does build strength. Um, we can always look at our stories and see the worst aspects of it. The little tater tot that's running around in the back is my little foot. Don't mind her on screen presence. Um, like I said, we can always just look for the negative aspects of our stories and assume that that is all there is. There is more. Uh, it's nuanced, and sometimes you're like, Rose, better shut the hell up. There ain't nothing, no damn silver lining over here. But hey, if the only thing that I take away is I'm
Mm.
still alive,
Yes,
motherfucker.
ma'am.
I'm still alive.
I
If
still got
that's
that
the
breath.
only thing I take away, I'm going to take it. It's a win. I get to stand up another day, even if I've lost everything. Been there, done that. As long as I can look up, I can get up. And that becomes the thing, right? Um,
Hmm.
We need community sometimes, though, because the darkness can overtake us. It can make us think that we are not worthy of love and companionship. It can make us think that what we got is all that we deserve. It can make us stay in places that don't damn well serve us, like the minute they take the hand up. It can
That's
make
not
us
good.
go places that we should never be. And so I say, when it's dark, look for the light.
You
If
know,
you can't see it, go ahead.
can you touch on boundaries for me? Because when I hear you talk, well, as we discuss personal development, and I hear some of the things that you're saying, the word boundaries comes to mind. So can
Yeah,
you speak on that for me?
I'll go into it in two realms. We go back to the vehicle, right? I'm my car. The only behavior that I can control is my own. That's step one. But also, ain't nobody got no damn right to control me. That's step two. If I choose to do a thing, it should be because I desire it, not because, well, I'm gonna do a thing so you like me, because that's gonna compromise me over time. And I'm gonna get damn mad over having to do a thing over and over to make you like me when it's
Make you
especially
like
when
me.
it's a thing I don't like to do. If it's a thing I don't like to do, and yet I worry about losing you if I don't do this thing, after a while I'm gonna resent the F out of you. I am. But generally speaking, if I'm doing something that I don't like to do in order to maintain a relationship, I'm not as connected with myself as I should be, am I? I'm not aligning and valuing the relationship I have with myself, because what the hell am I doing in circumstances where I keep walking into the sword in order to maintain a relationship with someone?
Hmm.
Why don't I deserve love and respect? Why don't I deserve reciprocity? Why don't I deserve somebody loving on me like I'm loving on them?
Yes,
God damn it,
ma'am.
if I'm going to be in relationship with somebody, what does that little young'un say? I can buy my own flowers. I could talk to myself for hours. What is the point of being in relationship if I'm going to be disrespected, demeaned, and demoralized? What is the point of being connected when you come home smelling of somebody else? When you don't even give me the respect of my dignity? What is the point of being in a relationship if you are going to violate me on a regular basis where I begin to hate myself for staying with you? What is the point of a relationship? Hell no, I buy my own damn flowers. I talk to myself for hours, right?
Absolutely.
To take myself on a walk. I don't need your bad behavior and calling that companionship. If you are going to be my companionship, you should treat me like the damn queen I am. And even if I'm not being a queen, well, meet me where I am. Meet me where I am. Don't sit in judgment of me, telling me how I don't show up in this way and, oh, this next door neighbor looks better. Then go there. Don't you disrespect me to say what? Ah, you're not good enough. Well, if I'm not good enough, darling, what the hell are you doing over here? Why are you standing here holding on to me and beating the life out of me? What is the point of that? And why am I sitting here as allowing it?
And that's a good question. And for me, I stayed in a toxic relationship for 25 years. It was toxic the whole way through. And when I look back at it, I have to question my self worth and my self value. And so, and I had to get to a point of awareness because a lot of the times we are walking in unawareness, like we're not able to step outside of ourselves and see ourselves looking in. And
Yes,
so, for the people that
yes.
are struggling with self awareness, how do you, with the value, with the self worth part of it, with knowing who they are and that self value, what advice do you give to them to help them to be able to see themselves from the outside looking in to let them know, hey, you do deserve better than this, or this isn't the life for you, or so forth?
There's a young woman. I say young because we age downwards. She's older than me, and I'm 51 years old, and I think she's quite a number of years older than me. And she says she's a poet. If I remembered, I would look up her poem. She says, each and every human being is a being of infinite worth and value. You were born worthy of love and respect. Every single human being is worthy, and there is not one more worthy than the other. I don't care how big your bank account is. You are worthy. And so
You're worthy.
if you are worthy, you are worthy, period. End of story. No matter how crumpled, no matter how beaten, no matter how broken down and dejected, no matter how many years you've done the drug, no matter how many bad choices, no matter how many times you lost your children, each and every one of us is worthy, every one of us. And so, if we are worthy and we are violating the bounds of our own reality by doing a little bit too much or a little bit too little, I don't need anybody to shame me to tell me to do better. Tell me that there's a path called the middle road, that there are choices that I can make that help me be the best version of myself, and then set me on that path. That's what I do every single day with my clients. Help them find their journey to themselves using some westernized medical modalities. Mindfulness is one of the new, I don't want to say new, it's as old as time, right? But it's becoming more and more accepted as a methodology for self alignment, being in the moment. Dialectical behavior therapy is one of the modality we use for emotional regulation. Cognitive behavior therapy to align ourselves in terms of restructuring the thoughts that no longer serve us, right? The thought that says I am unworthy, the thought that says I don't deserve anything better, the thought that says he'll leave me and I will be all alone. The thought that says nobody loves me and nobody ever will. You are loved. I love you. I love every single one of you. I do. That is the greatest gift about walking up and through your pain, is that you get to a level of existence where you realize the oneness of universality and the fact that loving somebody, even those who hate you, it
Such a great
it
gift.
changes you.
Yes.
It makes you radiate love. Love is a, ask me my religion and I tell you it's love.
It's
A
a
lot of people
frequency.
don't like that. Yeah, it is that
Hmm.
vibe. People talk about vibes and vibration. It erupts from you when you begin to love yourself and then love others with that same magnificent attitude. It changes everything. It changes
I
everything.
agree.
People come into my sessions knowing that I'm already on your side. I'm already on your side, but that don't put me on the opposite side of the person who you are hating. I just
Absolutely.
understand your part of the story. And part of what I try to do is help people to understand themselves in context of their story, right? Um, Sometimes people come thinking they're at their period. And I said, no, darling, that's just a semicolon. Keep writing. Keep writing.
Absolutely.
You are good.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Whenever I'm teaching people, I bring, because my goal is to help people see their trauma differently as well. Like, this is something that we had to go through. This is what our refinement process. This is the furnace that we had to go to come out as pure as gold. And as you mentioned earlier, a lot of the times we hold on to the emotion of the trauma that we experienced. And so I do have a goal to help people through my podcast, to help enlighten them in the sense that each of us have to be assigned some sort of trauma in this game of life, right? Like, there's an objective in this game. What else are we doing here if it's not to
That's
figure out different pieces of the puzzle?
Yeah, that's a part of the alignment of purpose, right? So essentially Buddha had that kind of conversation too, right? He talked about the fact that pain is not an optional part of life. Life
It
equals
is
pain,
not.
but
Mm,
it does not equal suffering. The suffering part is optional, right?
I
Suffering
love
is
that.
optional, but the pain, right? So that's part of that thing that says, ah, I don't have time to complain about the pain I'm in. I don't have time to. Okay, it hurts. Okay, and and what? Get up, stand up. Anyway, moving on. I'm gonna let
I,
you go back to it. Here's the thing. We we have to change how we think if how we are thinking is not getting us what we want.
I agree 100%. I have to put that as a banner because that was such a powerful statement that you just made there. Pain is a requirement, but suffering is
It's not.
optional. Like, that is so true and it's so necessary. And again, like I stated, we hold on to that pain. Like, had I known, it took me to get to 40 years old before I understood that, oh darn, I'm holding on to all this emotional baggage, you know. And
I'm
good
gonna
thing
go
some people
back.
arrive sooner, but it took me to 40 to realize I'm carrying hurt and pain and, resentment and bitterness. I'm carrying all this stuff around with me.
I just remembered you asked the question before, right? How do that's one of the things, my darling, is that we walk while wounded because we're on that. If we look, and there's a psychological, a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a researcher. I don't remember what the hey, but his name was Maslow, and there's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He says on the bottom rung, the baseline rung of the ladder is our survival needs, and in that is our desire for food, shelter, and water. Our survive when we're in survival mode, that's what we're looking for. We're just surviving. We're not at a stage that we can thrive. When we're in survival mode, I'm too busy working. I'm too busy hustling. You want me to what? Raise some kids? I'm working to feed the kids. Oh, you want me to also come back from work with my tired body, sit down and do homework with the kids. And then you want to shame me that I, after working what, 16 hours a day, can't sit down for 3 hours to try to navigate math that I no longer understand with my children, right? And
Right?
then clean house, do this,
Hmm.
do that. I mean, granted, the American school teacher is also the most abused employee on the planet, right? We have so many expectations for them therapists, guidance counselor, behavior management, lotion giver. I used to have to put lotion on the little elbows and
Hmm.
straighten their hairs. And
Yeah.
Come on. How do you help your little ones raise self-esteem when we're not doing all the things, and yet at the same time we're expected to do all the things when we're busy doing all the things? That's the survival mechanism, that
Right.
I'm supposed to put in 40 hours of work, and then another 40 hours with my kids, and then another 40 hours, whatever, 2 hours here transporting, going back and forth, cooking, da, 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 do all the things. This is the woman in America, right? We do
Hmm.
all the things. And what is it? Sunrise to sundown. Our work is never done. But yet we're supposed to be mentally healthy on the other side. That's just too
Hmm.
goddamn much we're being
Hmm.
asked to do. And that's just not fair. And yet at the same time, I can speak for my sisterhoods and my sisterins, that we have this expectation and this calling that we are angry women, angry because we want to be treated with respect and dignity, and we don't want to be cannon fodder for feckless men and feckless decision making. Having people talk about value and worth based on where we get taken for a first date. The first date is
Hmm.
about introduction. It's not about your damn meal. Um, you want to know where you're going to take me on the first date? You're going to meet me at Starbucks, dude, or a walk on the beach. We're going to have a conversation, because if you can't have a conversation, we ain't going very much further.
Anyway,
Level
yes.
one.
Yes.
Um, but the bottom line is this: how do I help people? Is to let them know that there is hope, that there is hope and guidance being offered. And I'm not just selling Topol counseling. I'm not. I'm saying to you that there are people now thinking about pain in a different way. Internal family systems is one of the methodologies. I can't wait to study it. It's expensive as hell. Y'all donate to Rose and I will study it and be the point of information for y'all. But that's
Love it.
some thousands. So, that's one modality that I cannot wait. Emotionally focused therapy is one of those that help you align self. Because as funny as it is, as crazy as our emotions are, nobody has ever taught us how to deal with them. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
The thing that all you got to do is get mad in 1 minute and
Yeah.
somebody is dead on the ground. And nobody has taught us how to control it, as if it's uncontrollable. It is not.
Hmm.
You can
Right.
navigate your feelings. Um, the reason why I'm all into the Eastern of it all is that there is a Western medicine. That's why I'm a licensed therapist, but I'm also into this yoga, meditation,
Hmm.
energy, dance, because it helps me align self. It deals with the somatic basis, the body. Doing that breath work and help me keeping calm, because I'm a Jamaican hothead. Ha! Back in the day, you don't want to mess around with no Jamaican women. Um, we'll love you to death, but we'll kill you to death because we are jealous. I'm not very
Literally
jealous.
love you to death,
I'm
huh?
not. I'm not very. Yeah, we'll love you to death. We do all the things. A Jamaican woman would get the rest of America and even Africa in trouble because she does all the things. She does. But then, what do all the Jamaican? What do you know Jamaican men for? One thing you know about Jamaican men,
I mean, from what I heard,
stereotypical thing. I will say
the stereotypical thing,
stereotype.
from what I heard, they are some lovers. They'll talk you out your drawers.
And then some. But see, I love you, my brothers, but you are my brothers. I will not date you. You are the dangerous men. Uh, some of you just want too many things, one at a time, one at a time. Settle for one at a time. But at the same time, I say that I am also a therapist to everybody in the noir community. I still do all the things. If you are pansexual or straight, it is not my job to judge you. I leave that to other people.
Mm.
What my job is to help you be happy in the choices that you make for yourself. And we use that. I use it all as skill building. Because if I'm gonna want something, if if the life that I desire for myself is aligned in a certain kind of way, then the relationships that I'm involved in, I should be able to negotiate the differences so that I get the relationship that I want. But what I want shouldn't hurt anybody. What I
Right.
want shouldn't violate anybody. So, When I call a man feckless, I'm talking about cheating. Cheating to me is feckless. Having an affair is feckless. It is
Mm-hmm.
uh, something we do when we're lower vibe, when we are not paying attention to the damage and whatever they call the collateral damages of our choices, the children that we have from affairs, and how it impacts them and their lives and their stories. Um, yeah, those kind of things wound me. The things we do to children because we decide that our sexual organs are more important than their connections and their stories. I get big mad about that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I get mad. Well, I say mad, but really not anymore. I used to really get mad. Now I just acknowledge that one of the things that we can do for ourselves is to make decisions based on a value. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sex feels good. Sex is really yumtastic. But I'm not big on that stranger danger stuff anymore. Um,
Yeah, that
because if
part.
you're not being made love with, you're being effed. And I'm not interested in being effed by
Right,
anybody. You
right.
know, I one of the most violating thing is to think of yourself as somebody's cum bucket. It's a
Yes.
no. It's
Yeah.
a no. Go to the ladies that choose that as a profession, but don't you come F around with me. If you're coming to me, come with your high vibrations and your intendant to connect in a relationship. I think part of what where the disconnection is in our society today is the fact that we have stepped away from creating standards for how we engage with our men. Um, if I am not a thing worth waiting for, then why can't you wait? Why do I need to jump into bed with you before I decide who you are? Why is it that you think on the first date you think you have the authority to kiss me when I don't even know how you do your hygiene just yet? I need to make decisions based on my reason, not my crotch. Sorry.
Not on
And if
my
that's
emotions
a
either.
problem for you, if that's a
Mm-hmm.
problem for you, sorry. I've had men say some of the weirdest, creepiest things in the universe to me. And I'm like, don't you have a mother? Don't you have a sister? Aren't you aligned with the values of the eternally feminine? Aren't we the creators of you? Aren't we part of this story? Why is it that we deserve disrespect? Because we are managing, because we show up and we go to work, and then all of a sudden we are managed if we are um, you know doing it and buying the house. If we're buying the house, then we are too, what is it, too bougie. And if we're not buying the house, then we are what's the
Gold
other, gold
diggers.
diggers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can't win for losing. Which
Yeah.
one do you want us to be, darlings? Whichever ones is going to get us the kings, the guy that shows up responsive and respectful, not calling me no bees. Which one is it? How do I get you to show up and have a conversation about something other than your penis? That's the conversation I want to have. I am not just for your pleasure. I am also for conversation and for fun and for creating and for building. And the fact that the first thing somebody wants to say is, "Oh, you're so pretty." Thanks.
I already knew that. But
Thanks.
and I actually made a video earlier today where I spoke about how American culture puts way too much emphasis on romantic love. And I think in our culture, that has us looking for chasing love outside of ourselves, because the American culture will also tell you that you're less than a woman if you don't have a man and different things like that. And so a lot of women, instead of seeking themselves, they're seeking partnership, and you don't even know who you are, but yet you're out here seeking a partner. So there is a lot of damaging rhetoric floating around out here. A lot of it
It's
having
the
to do with
Disney
religion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Disney story. It is the woman as victim. It is us as the weaker sex. It's the man as the stronger. But
Hmm.
you can be stronger and still not stronger. You can be weak and yet not weak. The world is dialectic.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, we ascribe to a story of victimization as women. We are told what we cannot do, and we are told what we can do. We are told where we can drive, where we can work. I wish I know which country it is that banned, it might be Saudi Arabia, but I don't want to call out any country, so let me look. That banned ownership of businesses by women, and the last businesses that were owned were like beauty, like getting your hair done and all that stuff, and it was banned. And I'm just wondering, why is the feminine something that must be controlled? Why
Right.
is it every aspect of us that needs, oh, what is this new, subservience? Why do you even come out your mouth with the word subservience and at the same time talk about loving connection and relationship? How does subservience, even the word is violating?
Mm,
Subservience, lower than.
yes.
What's wrong with equity and respect and mutual love and connection? What is wrong with us doing for each other? What is wrong with reciprocity? Why
Right.
do you need a subservient partner? What is it about you that is unwilling to grow that you need somebody who is afraid of you? I'm sorry, maybe I'm using the word subservient wrong, but I go by the definition. I don't understand why we need subserviency when we can just, in a loving connection, go for equity and
Mm,
equality and value and fidelity and respect. And hey, let's build this thing so our kids have a strong foundation for tomorrow. What is wrong with those values? What is wrong with choosing not to violate the bonds of your fidelity by saying no to the pretty young thing just because she's pretty and just because she's young and just because she's looking at what you've got and thinking, with her young self, that hey, I can come and just come in and replace it. You, sir, have the right to say no, not today.
hello.
I love my wife, and in fact, even though me and my wife are on rocky turf right now, I'm not going to disrespect this woman out in public, in where I work and all that nonsense. There's so many things that we do that disconnects, that leave us unthinking and hurtful. There is no perfection in this life thing, though. We are always going to screw up. I think part of it is owning up to the things that we have done wrong and moving forward, but also accepting that sometimes the things that we do will get no forgiveness simply because that other person is not in a place to forgive you because your wounds are too big. We can't expect people to treat us well when we haven't treated them well.
Right.
Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is no more. Sometimes it's 25 years is long enough. Sometimes the answer is 45 years. I am still hurting. Sometimes it's, hey, we've only been dating for 3 minutes. Why is this so uncomfortable? Or it's recognizing the flags in the play. It's recognizing that someone who values you treats you well. What we
Right.
appreciate goes up. What we appreciate goes up. If you care about my feelings, then I shouldn't be repeating myself constantly, should I?
Right.
Um, if you see, the assumption is that all of a sudden now everybody is perfect. There is no such thing as perfect, but there's owning where you are in your journey and accepting the responsibility for the disconnections that came with you not knowing any other information previous to now.
Right.
You
Right.
can, I think Maya said something like that, right? You have to forgive yourself for what you didn't know,
Mhm. Yep.
something to that effect. So if you didn't know it, you couldn't have done better. And when you know something better, you do better. That's the best we can do, and that's what we can offer in connection with others is honesty, truth, value. What we can offer in connection is, you know what? I know this is hard. I know this is something that wasn't given to me previously. I know that this is history I don't have, and shoot, it's tough. I don't know if I can do it. That's honest self assessment, self
Yes.
talk. And that gives you the drive to then go, well, what am I missing? What do I need to do instead? What should I go ahead and we start asking different questions when we engage in a state of curiosity rather
Yes.
than judgment. Get out of this judgment business. Stop judging
Yes.
yourself for how you show up, and look at how you show up and say, well, is this what I want? Is who I am what I want to be? And if the answer is no, okay, let's do some work and get you there.
Yeah. And
We
that
can
was actually the best place that I started on my journey is I made a decision like just one day, the smallest thing of I don't want to have resting bitch face anymore. It's just something about that. I just don't want to do that anymore. Just the idea of being in knowing my desires and being intentional and starting small. Like I think a lot of the times we jump into the deep end of the pool when doing the self-development work and not realizing that we can start with the small things and work our way
It's
through it.
scaffolding. It's like learning mathematics. You can't jump to algebra. You kind of have to learn how to recognize 1 + 1 = 2. You start where you start and move yourself up. You get there
Yes.
by doing the work. Doing the work. It's like yoga, and I talk about yoga a lot. Yoga.
Hmm.
You start out and you're like, "What this finky nonsense here?" And then all of a sudden, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't." And then, "Oh yeah, I can do that." "Oh, look at me. Oh my gosh, I'm on the crow. I can be up on." You start, you gain a sense of self esteem through the development of the thinking and the task. I talked about that book in the beginning, the Little Book of Choice Theory. As a modality, it tells you about the different needs that people have for belonging, for fun, for freedom, for power, for spirituality. And when you engage in the journey to align yourself to your own desire, on if you think about the wellness map against like all the different things, what is on there, if I can visualize it spiritually, emotionally, our occupational alignment, our intellect, how smart do you want to be, your environment, your finances, your social life, your physical life, your spiritual life. That's the wheel of wellness right there. If you
Yes.
are engaging in a state of curiosity about where you are versus where you want to be, you find yourself much more aligned, able to start mapping. I don't think about worry. Worry is not my best friend. A worry means there's a problem to be solved. Let's solve that problem. Instead of worrying about I can't deal with worry. Worry has no end. But I can think, I am not where I want to be. Well, where do you want to be? Well, I thought by now I would have achieved. Well, it's not what it is. This is where we are. What do you still want? What can you still achieve? I always say I'm not dead yet, meaning sometimes I still fork about with the idea of going and getting a PhD, but I'm too broke for that ish. So
Okay.
I already owe Uncle Sam too much money. Lord
I
have mercy. Somebody
understand.
needs to go fund me. Somebody needs to go fund me to pay for this education. But
Yeah.
that's one of the things, is that we can decide what we are pouring in. The body I used to have didn't serve me any longer because it needed so much medication. I needed a whole other job to pay for the insulin, the this, the that, and the next thing. So I started on this journey dealing with so many health issues along the way, but coming into this healthier body, still working on trying to get her to where I want to be and stop shaking in all the places. But
Right.
I'm still grateful. I'm grateful every day that I don't have to do all the things I used to do to keep me alive.
Good.
And movement is now the gift I give myself. And
Through yoga. Okay.
through yoga, through boxing, Krav Maga is one of my things, because I told you I'm a scared person, so I need to learn how to fight. And I got a big
Okay.
mouth. This big mouth would get me in trouble, so I had to learn how to fight a little bit. Um,
Okay.
pretty 2024. I'm going back at here in the space over here in Brevard on Merritt Island. There's a young man named Dave DeQuillo. He has unlimited kickboxing, and I like to go over there and rumble with them in the morning. So my
Okay.
old butt, she likes to pretend like she is still 25. She likes to pretend that she's still 25. So you know what? I give her some things sometimes. I give her some
Absolutely.
times to play and have a little bit of fun. That's part of the journey too.
I love it. Well, we've got about 6 minutes left. I want to ask you, what does your self-care routine look like?
Well, I will be honest with you, my darling. It looks very crappy right now because I'm building my business. I'm moving from my little one room shop in the village to a multi-level building down the road. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, beginning in the new year, I've got couples intensive for high conflict couples, where they get to come and stay with me for a weekend, and
Nice.
we get to work through some of that things. I'm the I fight for the relationship and they fight for themselves. So it's like in the ring, and we navigate and work through conflict. I have a bunch of New Year, New You group workshops trying to get sisterhood to be a thing again.
Okay,
Um,
yes.
Trying to get people to come on down and exercise with me, learn a thing or two about natural living. Trying to align myself to better food and be more intentional. So uh, my alignment is good food, good health, good company, good
Yeah.
companionship. I would rather be single. What is it? Single and, well, I would just rather not coupled and complicated. It's not a lot of hard work to love unconditionally. I love everybody unconditionally, but I am a present. I'm a gift. If you want my companionship, you got to be a reasonable human being. And so I can love you from a distance is something that I had to learn to navigate. Loving from a distance means what I accept towards me matches what I am giving out.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
love
giving
it.
out love and peace, and I want that back for myself. I'm no longer willing to be the insecure one inside of a relationship. If I question, and I that is the only power that I have, is to ask a question. If I ask a question and that gives you some kind of disturbance, I'm going to look at what you're doing, because when I walked up to you, I walked up to with you with love. Period. End of story.
Period.
I
Yes.
don't bring drama. I don't bring nonsense. I just bring love. And I don't try to control anybody. That is not my mechanism. My goal is to control myself. That
Yes.
is that is my gift to the world, is that I learn to navigate the information being sent towards me. So, I look forward to hearing from some of your viewers, and um, to come and find me in the village. Like, that's all what I always tell myself. Rose in the village.
I
Um,
love it.
that it's just a little edge by the water, and it's a peaceful little place. So sometimes we even just take a walk, because behavior activation is one of the skill buildings. There's so many things inside psychotherapy today. It is not your grandpa's psychotherapy that's out here in the streets nowadays. There's a lot of useful mechanisms for helping us get to where we need to go in this life. Um, it's not what they tell you that you are, it's what you tell yourself.
What you tell
It is
yourself.
who you, yeah, what you get up and do,
Yeah.
what you choose for you. Choice is a
Mm,
powerful mother. It's a
I love
powerful
it.
mother. And I can't wait to teach more about it. I can't wait to teach more about it, my darling.
Well, I can't wait for us to revisit this topic, this conversation, or even to shift into. We were supposed to get to effective communication, and being that my main goal, as a creator of Journey to Love dating game show, my goal is to help us become whole individuals, so that we will be more effective in the dating arena. Now, the next game being December 16th. I think I heard you say that you're in Merritt Island. Is that right?
Well, I'm in Cocoa Village. So,
Okay.
Cocoa Village, it's a tiny little village, but it's power packed with a little bit of everything. It's small town life here in this
Okay.
little thing. So you get a little bit of it. I love being here. It's about an hour, 45
About
minutes to an hour away from Orlando.
okay.
And
Perfect.
15 minutes from Cocoa Beach. I do virtual sessions,
Okay.
like I said, life coaching and therapy, and I take a variety of insurances. And the easiest thing to find me is Rose Topol on Psychology Today. It's um it's an easy mechanism. I work through a bunch of different things. I do conflict resolutions, but in reality, I love working with the individual, because, and I always say, I treat every branch on the tree. Meaning, if we're doing family therapy, we see everybody, and we try to help everybody get more aligned. Um, it's using Western medicine, but also Eastern ideas, meditation, yoga, movement. As you know, there's so much coming. There is so much coming. And I cannot wait to share the things that I am learning. Like I said, the nerd in me, the information source, that is what I aspire to be, and aspire to help people live the best life for themselves based on their choices.
Excellent. We definitely need more of that, more of you in the community, because I do feel like as a collective, we are elevating and evolving, even despite the different plants that, the internet is trying to put into our community. I really believe that we are growing and evolving as a people. So I hope that the viewers who are in need of your services do reach out today. I hope that you will be able to make it out to one of my future Journey to Love dating games, because we do have open panel discussions. And so your expertise will definitely be a breath of fresh air, or maybe even come out and maybe as a vendor, offer your services to those who may be looking for personal development,
I would
relationship
definitely,
help.
I would look forward to it. Most
Excellent.
definitely. I said that I'm going to own a personal life soon, so I will come out to one of your events. I
Okay, well,
really
that would be
appreciate
great.
the opportunity to share. Thank you, darling. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And again, let's do this again sometimes. You were absolutely fabulous, wonderful, amazing. If you have any questions for
Thank you.
me, please reach out if you're in the
Oh,
field
Miss
for looking
Love,
for love.
I cannot wait to come back on your show. And I mean, I really want to know more about you and your story. You talk about being a survivor, and that is one of the things that I say every day. I live on Strivers Row, baby. On Strivers Row, it's about surviving, not what was done to us, but what we do to ourselves. They did what they did, but they
Yeah,
can't make us into victims.
no,
Right? We are survivors. And once
that's
we
right.
survive, the next step is to thrive, to go up Maslow's hierarchy of needs
That's where we
until
are.
we become us we want to be. Exactly.
Yes, I
It
love
is
it.
alignedness with love, peace. If you can walk through life with peace, you've made it. You've
That's
made
when
it.
you know you've made it, is when you've attained peace. I agree. That's life. All right, Rose. Well, let's go ahead and wrap
Yes,
this up.
yes.
Again, I appreciate you being here, sharing your expertise, and we will definitely revisit this conversation again in the near future. You have a fabulous evening.
Most
It was a
definitely. I
pleasure.
thank you, my darling. Be well.
Thank you. You take
Same
care.
here. Take care. You take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, dear.